Story 1. I'm very anti-dating apps, but I guess I'm biased because of the nightmarish experience I had with Tinder. I've only met up with 3 people ever off Tinder. The first 2 experiences were nothing special. I wasn't excited about either of the girls, and there were no second dates. But compared to the third meetup, oh boy, in comparison the first 2 went phenomenally. I'm actually a brunette girl named Annette. She had up 4 pictures, 3 of which she was posing alone in what looked like her backyard. The 4th one was in front of a pond. At the time, I didn't see it as a red flag that she was alone in all of her pictures. Honestly, why would I? But she was decently attractive, at least in my standards. So I talked to her, and it got to the point where she asked what I was doing that night. And when I said nothing, she asked if she could come over and hang out. Considering my bedroom and my parents' house is in the basement with a separate entrance, it would work out rather nicely. We set a time for her to come over. When the time came, she texted me literally right on the dot that she was outside. Punctual, to say the least. I let her in the side basement door entrance, and we walked downstairs. I tried to make a greeting. Not awkward, but right off the bat, first impression, she seemed weird. Her responses were short. Her laugh was weird when we sat down on my bed and asked her how long the drive was. She left like she didn't even answer my question. She just left. Like I told a joke, and as she laughed, she looked right at me. Her eyes still open wide. It was uncomfortable, and I already knew I wasn't going to vibe with this girl. I wanted her out ASAP. I turned the TV on in the background for filler, and I pretended to be laughing at the TV because of the constant awkward silences. And she never once batted an eye to look at the TV. She just watched me the whole time. I was able to wrap it up quickly by pretending I got a text about going to work early the next day, and I implied I needed to go to sleep. She seemed like she didn't want to leave. It was extremely awkward, but I managed to get her to follow me out the basement door. When she was finally gone, I had to ask myself, what did I just put myself through? Not even 5 minutes after she left, she texted me, "Are you sure you have to go to bed?" I was having fun. I read the text and sighed. I threw my phone on the bed to charge while I went to get food upstairs. When I got back, I had 3 more texts from her, 2 being question marks. The last one being hello with more question marks. This girl was clearly nuts, so I blocked her done and done. I went to bed an hour later. I woke in the middle of the night, like I often do. I'm a light sleeper. It's really annoying. Waking up randomly isn't weird for me. I instinctively felt around for my phone to check what time it was. But my phone wasn't by its normal spot on the ledge charging, and I 100% remembered putting it there. So I got up and started looking around for my phone. I turned on the bedside strip of red LED lights. I had hung on the wall to light up the room just a bit. I couldn't find it though, and I'm kind of the person who will let that bother me until I find it. I went upstairs to grab the landline phone and bring it down so I could call my number. When I dialed my number, I heard it ringing from inside the boiler/laundry room, which was connected to my room. I entered the boiler room, and there was my phone left on the washing machine, causing the entire machine to vibrate as it rang. I knew this was bizarre because I didn't do laundry that night. I didn't even remember going in there. I picked up my phone to see a bunch of new messages from some random number. I opened the text to see 2 pictures of me sleeping above. The pictures were 2 texts saying nice, good job locking me. The second one saying, lock your door next time. And I realized what an idiot I was that I was so anxious to get her out of my room that I didn't even lock the door when she left. I can't say for certain, but I felt like I wasn't alone in the room. I just felt another presence, and I had a feeling that she may have been hiding behind the cylinder boiler in the darkest corner of the room. But I didn't go. Look, I went upstairs to get my parents and called the police. Given that the girl was dumb enough or crazy enough to leave a digital footprint, tracking her and getting charges pressed on her was easy. Her name wasn't even Annette's. Her real name was Silvana. Her charges were a breaking and entering charge and a stalking and harassment charge. I, of course, got a restraining order, and I never heard from that girl again. Story 2. I downloaded Tinder because I was really bored and honestly, I was quite lonely. This was just last year when the whole COVID thing finally started to die down a little bit. I'd actually used Tinder once before this. I've met some pretty decent people off the app. Nothing special though, nor out of the ordinary. The last time I used Tinder, and the last time I'll ever use a dating app again. I met this blonde girl named Haley. She seemed okay at first, hence why I met up with her in the first place. I thought she was cute, and I just really wanted someone to connect with. You seemed to really hit it off, so that's when we decided we should meet up. Let me just tell you, now that she hit the fan, I got absolutely crazy. You hear horror stories all the time about people meeting up with strangers from the internet. You never really seem to pay much attention to it because while you think that things like this don't happen often, and the likelihood of it happening to you is slim to none. Well, that's how I thought anyways. I figured we would just go out to eat or maybe catch a movie or something, but she wanted to come to my house instead. As a matter of fact, she insisted. I made up an excuse as to why we couldn't hang out in my place. Really, it was because my house was a mess, and also I just wanted to get out of the house myself anyways. She very bluntly explained to me that we could hang out, unless we were to hang out in my house. Look, I know I should have saw this as a red flag, and I think part of me did, but I didn't pay enough attention to it. She was really pretty, and I was lonely. I think she definitely used that to her advantage, because she knew it too. I eventually caved in and I told her that she could come over, so we set up a time for her to come, and they gave me just enough time to clean the house and to shower and get myself ready. She texted me when she got here and I let her in. It was extremely awkward at first, and right away I thought, no, she looks a little different from the picture she had in her Tinder account. I couldn't tell if I was just overthinking or not, and I didn't say anything at first about it because I didn't want to be rude. I'm not all that attractive anyways, so I just kind of let it go. And we started chatting and we were going okay. And then she asked me if I had anything to drink alcohol-wise, and I told her I had about a half-fifth of Jameson left in the cupboard. I excused myself to the restroom, and when I came back, she was sitting on the couch with her drink in her hand, and I saw that she had prepared a drink for me as well that was sitting on my dad's coffee table. I really wasn't in the mood for alcohol, especially not liquor, so I grabbed a beer out of my fridge and drank that instead. About 3 or 4 years later, I ended up drinking my mixed drink that she kept pressuring me to drink. In fact, I almost completely decided against drinking it just because of how bad she wanted me to. I had a paranoid OCD, thought that it was certainly possible that she could have spiked my drink of something while I was using the bathroom. I had a serious feeling to stay away from the drink she made me altogether. But I let it go eventually, because the drunker I got, the more realized how delusional I sounded to myself. She seemed like a nice girl, but we were getting along just fine. Plus, it didn't seem like there was anything in my drink, so I figured it was okay. Anyways, I drank it, and I didn't feel much different until maybe about 10 or 20 minutes afterwards. But I just played it off as me being drunk and overthinking. After all, I am a lightweight and 6 drinks is way more than enough to keep me pretty messed up. This is where things start to get really weird. The last thing I remember was we were sitting on the couch and I started feeling very strange, started to feel faint and very dizzy. And so I ultimately passed out completely. I had to have been out cold for at least 5 hours because I woke up at the crack of dawn, and what I discovered was nothing short of a nightmare. I was lying on my bedroom floor and I awoke in a terrified state of mind. I slowly started to piece together that something was horribly wrong, and I was still feeling weird from the drugs she had roofed on me with. The first thing I noticed was that my whole entire body was in serious pain, all the way from my neck to my arms and my back and my stomach too. I had bruises all over me, and I had over 5 serious stab, puncture wounds, along with deep cuts in both of my arms and my stomach. I got up, and I saw that my bed and the floor of my room soaked with blood and the walls as well. I both fainted again when I saw this, and I remember feeling like I couldn't breathe. I went to grab my phone to call the police, but I couldn't find it. It turned out that she had stolen my phone and all 4 of my TVs that were in my house, along with some jewelry and some of my safes that had over $20,000 in them. I looked all around my house, but nobody was in sight. My house was a complete wreck, so she destroyed windows, vandalized just about every room. And I mean, she just completely demolished everything. I remember looking in the mirror at one point and having a complete breakdown. I couldn't believe that any of this was real. I'm almost 100% positive that there was somebody else other than the girl that I met that was in on this. It's hard for me to even type this out, but my stomach had a really disturbing wound in which they used my blood to draw a pentagram on the wall of my bedroom with found one of my old phones in my dresser. And I plug it into the charger and I connected it to the Wi-Fi so I could call a friend on FaceTime audio so they could get the cops out to my house, and I just waited for them to show up. It was probably about 20 minutes, if that I don't know what the hell she drugged me with exactly, but it was reported as some sort of rare, extremely powerful tranquilizer. I gave all the information I could to the police, and I logged into my Tinder account on my old phone in hopes that the account would still be there so I could show the police. But of course they unmatched me and probably deleted the account, and I thought it would have helped much anyways because I'm pretty sure I was catfish. They never called the people who did this. I actually moved to a new house a couple of months back, and I don't live in as much fear now. I also have security cameras, and I have an ADT security alarm system set up now too, which I recommend everybody has. If possible, it could save your life.